Every day, our environment is undergoing changes, changes that impact and affect our world. Global warming, climate change, environmental pollution and degradation, desert encroachment and flooding are daily destroying our world and making it unsafe for habitation. How do we cope with these changes? How do we improve the quality of life through our environment? These and many more environment issues will occupy us weekly on Environment Today.
It's imperative that people comply with laid down environmental laws if we must enjoy the benefits of a clean and healthy environment. But there are certain habits which are outrightly unfriendly to the environment.
Join Nkoli Omodu on Africa Independent Television AIT as we take an incisive and in-depth look at our environment. Environment Today, creating a better and safe environment for the world.
Welcome again. The incessant fire explosions at petrol and gas stations in Nigeria has thrown up questions on the criteria for siting gas stations in the country and to what extent they are adhered to by the operators. We spoke with the Lagos Zonal Operations Controller of the Department of Petroleum Resources, DPR.
First of all, we'd like to find out what are the basic requirements, for siting a gas plant, and should they necessarily be within residential areas?
Well, my answer to that will be that there is a very stringent condition set by DPR for you to operate an LPG plant. And a part of it has to do with distance. And the distance is tied to the capacity of the facility. For instance, if you are doing 20 metric ton facility, you have to give about 15-meter minimum distance is required, between you and the next residential building. Then also, if you are doing 10 metric ton facility, 7.5 meters is required. And in addition to that, if it is in relation to public facilities like schools, like mosques, etc., we actually require that you have 50 meters. So that is as far as distance goes. And in addition to that, if you are doing above 20 metric tons, you are required to have an EIA. That is, you have an environmental impact analysis of the site and also of the project from a very competent consultant registered by DPR will be required. And so these are some of the requirements for suitability, site suitability. So, but a lot of people flounder when it comes to site suitability. Not all the applications actually go to construction. About 40 to 50% fail at that stage. But if the site is suitable, if the distance is adjudged to be right, then DPR will issue you approval for site suitability. That the consent for site suitability, that means that functionally, we look at it and we say, yes, this site may be able to accommodate your proposed project on LPG. But we do more than that. The most critical stage actually is approval to construct, because that will require other authorities and agencies to issue us their approval. For instance, we require from the state town planning authority to confirm that it is actually within the relevant scope of our state safety, procedures and building codes. And also for the fire service approval, either from the state or federal government is required to ensure that the proposed location of the facility will not constitute fire hazard and that it will be easily accessible in case of fire. And also we require from the police to ensure that it will not obstruct traffic and it will not constitute menace to the public. So before we do all of this, we also require that engineering and the technical drawings approved by the state town planning authorities are submitted. So it is not right to say that DPR just sits down and approve these facilities without other agencies, especially from the local authorities, giving their consent.
Should I take it that all the gas plants we have cited in Nigeria today and in Lagos in particular went through these processes?
I will say no, and I will clarify for you, because not all of those plants you see actually had DPR approval. For the ones approved for DPR, I will say yes. They will have to go through this gamut of procedures before they are given license to operate.
If we have incessant explosions, if we have explosions at gas plants, what could be responsible, the likely causes of such explosions at gas plants?
You see, accidents do happen. After having placed all the safety measures in place, accidents do happen because those facilities are still going to be operated by human beings. You see, there is tendency for us as human that when you do something repeatedly and every day, you take it for granted. And before accident happens to people, they normally assume it will not happen to them. And that is why we try as much as possible most of the time to ensure that we have seminars, workshops, and we also have developed standard operating procedures for all of these plants. And it is not just developing a standard operating procedures for them. We also go ahead as the industry matures, as we know, to update most of these things. One of the things I have before me was dated 19 January 2015. It has to do with installation of automatic shut-off valve. We discovered that some of these plants, they will install their facilities when they are discharging, they will not have shut-off valve, and that is very dangerous, right? And when we noticed that, we wrote a general circular to the industry to remind them that LPG storage vessels are to be fitted with the above device for the purpose of safety. And also, when there is accident like occurred in Magodo, what we do mostly, all time rather I would say, is to conduct an inquest. And when we found the real cause of it, we issue a circular to the industry about the lessons learned so as to forestall reoccurrence. We still had a workshop November 23 during the AGM to let people know that safety is the responsibility of all of us. It's a whole day event where every of these gas operators were gathered in a seminar organized by DPR to talk about safety. So we need to ensure we let our people know that gas is different from kerosene. We've gone on radio, and we are planning to do jingles to let people know that you cannot handle gas the way you handle kerosene, and that there are basic procedures, even at the retail stage, for you to comply with in order to make yourself safe. So we have been doing this, and we hope to do more to ensure that people actually know how to handle this very, very important product.